I think the Global Child Survival Act, there's some elements to, I mentioned that, getting those resources in the earliest times you can with newborns and mothers can make such a difference. Of that 4 million we lose in the first 4 weeks of life, that's just so basic, those things you can do on that. The 150 account is the account, the aid account that we've been historically involved in. But we need to do other things. Obviously, it isn't just our accounts. And again, I'll try and do the best I can. And again, people who know me and have worked with me for a quarter of a century, going back to my Peace Corps days and my work on these issues, those are things that I think I'm the go-to person year in and year out by people who seek help on these issues. It's how I met Bono when he got involved in this thing, and I came to my office, and I wasn't crazy about meeting a rock star. I said, the staff goes nuts to meet a rock star, so I said, okay, we'll meet with the guy. And I was blown away by him. I've met very few people in my life who understood not only what needed to be done, but how to do it. I was so deeply impressed with how practical he was and how well-versed and knowledgeable he was about the intricacies of the federal budget, how it worked from the executive branch down to the legislative branch. And I was rather stunned that someone who didn't live in our country, was not a citizen, understood the workings of this as well as he did. So we got involved together in those things here, and I'll do what I can. The World Bank is a big issue for me, and some of these international institutions. Bob Zellick is the new head of the World Bank, and I've known him for a long time. He was Jim Baker's top assistant when I did all the negotiations on the Central American Peace Accords in the 1980s. And then he was at the Treasury and in and out. He's a very knowledgeable guy, very smart guy. And we need to get the World Bank to be doing more of these international organizations. I know they make the commitment to this stuff, but we've got to get them to step up more. We dump a lot of money into these international organizations. The United States bears the lion's share financially of these organizations. We need to be demanding that they produce more here. And there are a lot of other countries that can do more. One of the things I want to do, I spend a lot of time on the Latin American issues in the Middle East. There's a lot of wealth in some of these other countries. We need to be encouraging a lot more philanthropy out of private sector operations in a lot of these developing countries who do very little. And I've got to try to think of ways to incentivize that as well here. A lot more people can do a lot more globally in these areas. And we need to find ways to sort of encourage and promote that, in addition to what public expenditures there are, to get far more international cooperation in terms of some of these efforts, where you have the staggering problems, such as you do in the sub-Saharan area, which really must demand, this isn't just a problem, it's a catastrophe going on. Again, those numbers of 30,000 a day. I mean, 30,000 children dying every day. I mean, just have to say that number slowly to let it sort of sink in here. 10 million infants a year losing their lives because they're not getting either proper, just basic nutrition, even just water, hydration issues alone. So I'm determined to do everything I can, and I want people to know that, not based on a speech I'm giving 34 days before a primary or a caucus in New Hampshire and Iowa, but going back over a lifetime. 41 years ago, I was a Peace Corps volunteer. I haven't changed since.